Imagine a small nation caught in the eye of a deadly storm, surrounded by the chaos of World War II. On one side, the unstoppable force of Nazi Germany. On the other, the powerful Allies, both hungry for control. This is the story of Portugal, a country that walked a tightrope between destruction and survival, playing a role in the war that few people truly understand. How did this tiny nation avoid invasion and even shape the course of history? Let's dive into one of the most fascinating untold stories of the 20th century. Today, we'll uncover Portugal's secret strategies, its delicate balancing act, and the incredible impact it had during the darkest days of World War II. Buckle up, because this journey is full of surprises. Let's set the stage. It's July 1st, 1940, and the world is on fire. Nazi troops are marching across Europe, crushing everything in their path. Just a week before, France surrendered to Germany after only 6 weeks of fighting. The situation looks hopeless for anyone standing against Hitler. In this tense atmosphere, Francisco Franco, the dictator of Spain, meets with a Portuguese ambassador. Franco, a man who admired Hitler, tries to push Portugal into abandoning its long-standing alliance with Great Britain. He calls Hitler an extraordinary man, full of humanity and brilliant ideas, claiming that Germany has already won the war. Franco's message is clear. England might hold out a little longer, but it's only delaying the inevitable. Portugal, he implies, should rethink its loyalties. Now, Portugal was in a tough spot. Geographically, it was trapped, bordered by fascist Spain to the east and surrounded by the Atlantic, with Britain, an allied power, to the north across the sea. Both the Nazis and the Allies wanted control over Portugal, not just for its location, but also for its resources. The country was a gateway to the Bay of Biscay and the Strait of Gibraltar, critical areas for naval dominance. Controlling these waters could speed up Hitler's plans to invade England. On top of that, Portugal had overseas colonies in Africa, Asia, and the Atlantic, making it a strategic gold mine. And let's not forget its reserves of tungsten, a rare mineral vital for making ammunition and military equipment. Everyone wanted a piece of Portugal, and the country had to be very careful not to get crushed in the process. But Portugal didn't just sit back and wait to be invaded. Under the leadership of António de Oliveira Salazar, the nation played a dangerous game of diplomacy, one that would influence the war in ways few could have predicted. To understand how Portugal pulled this off, we need to rewind a bit to the years before the war even started. Back in 1926, Portugal was in chaos. A military coup overthrew the government, ending the republic and ushering in a dictatorship. But the new regime struggled to fix the country's deep economic problems. That's when Salazar, an economist, stepped in. He took over the Ministry of Finance and quickly turned things around, stabilizing the economy. By 1932, Salazar had become the most powerful man in Portugal, earning the trust of both the people and the military. They saw him as a savior. With this support, he became prime minister and created a new constitution that gave him near total control. His regime, called the Estado Novo, was a single-party state, deeply Catholic and anti-communist. Under Salazar, life in Portugal was tightly controlled. Censorship was everywhere. Newspapers, radio, and later television were closely watched to make sure no one criticized the government or the church. Propaganda painted Salazar as a humble, moderate leader who cared only for his people's well-being. But behind this image was a darker reality. The streets were patrolled by a feared secret police force called the Pied, whose job was to silence any opposition. Those who dared to speak out against Salazar could be arrested, interrogated, and brutally tortured. Fear was a tool to keep the population in line. While Portugal was building this authoritarian system across Europe, Hitler was rising to power in Germany. His aggressive speeches made it clear that he wanted to expand Nazi control, and war seemed inevitable. Salazar, however, was determined to keep Portugal out of any conflict. He believed his country had more to lose than to gain by getting involved. At the same time, he worried about Spain. Franco, Spain's dictator, was sympathetic to the Nazis. If Spain joined forces with Germany, it could easily invade and take over Portugal. To prevent this, Salazar made a smart move. In March 1939, just months before the war broke out, he convinced Spain to sign a non-aggression treaty. This agreement, known as the Iberian Pact, aimed to keep the entire Iberian Peninsula neutral. But neutrality wasn't easy. The Nazis had plenty of reasons to target Portugal. Beyond its strategic location, controlling the Bay of Biscay and the Strait of Gibraltar would give Hitler a huge advantage in his plans to defeat Britain. Portugal's colonies also offered valuable bases in Africa and Asia, and its tungsten reserves were a treasure for any army. At the start of the war, Portugal became a target for both sides. The Allies, especially the British, pressured Portugal to stay loyal to their old alliance, while the Nazis and their allies wanted to pull the country into the Axis camp. Salazar had to walk a fine line, using every bit of diplomacy to avoid favoring one side too much. A single misstep could mean invasion and the loss of independence. To keep the balance, Salazar made deals with both sides. He bought weapons from Germany and Italy, which annoyed the British. In response, Britain asked Portugal to stop trading with the Axis and instead buy military equipment from them. Portugal agreed, ordering Gloucester Gladiator biplanes and Spitfire fighter bombers from the Allies. It was a delicate dance, and things almost fell apart in the summer of 1940. As we mentioned earlier, France had just fallen to Germany, and Franco was pushing Portugal to ditch its alliance with Britain. At the same time, the German High Command had a plan called Operation Felix. This operation aimed to capture the Strait of Gibraltar by sending German troops through Spain and occupying Portugal. With only a small army of about 55,000 soldiers, Portugal wouldn't stand a chance. Some estimates suggested the invasion could be over in just 3 weeks. The plan even stated that after the invasion, German forces would leave, and Portugal would be handed over to Spain as part of Franco's territory. Franco knew about Operation Felix and supported it, hoping to gain control of Portugal. But luckily for the Portuguese, the plan never happened. Why? Because in 1941, Hitler turned his attention to invading the Soviet Union. Germany needed all of its soldiers and tanks for that massive campaign, leaving no resources to spare for the Iberian Peninsula. This gave Salazar breathing room to keep playing his game of neutrality. To show he wasn't picking sides, he decided to sell tungsten to both the Nazis and the Allies in equal amounts. This was a brilliant move. Neither side could accuse Portugal of helping their enemy, and the country made a fortune in the process. Experts estimate that Portugal earned around 400 tons of gold from the tungsten trade, which would be worth about $20 billion today. Interestingly, the Nazis didn't pay with their own money. They used funds stolen from the central banks of occupied countries like the Netherlands, Belgium, and France. While Portugal profited from the war, it also became a safe haven for those fleeing Hitler's terror. Salazar allowed refugees to enter the country, as long as they didn't stay too long. Many desperate people traveled across Europe to reach Portugal, hoping to board ships to America and escape the horrors of war. Though the Portuguese government wasn't anti-Semitic, it did tighten its immigration rules during the war to avoid angering the Axis powers. Still, countless men and women kept coming, often sneaking in with fake documents. Historians believe hundreds of thousands of lives were saved thanks to Portugal's relatively open borders, though the exact number is still debated. In August 1943, Portugal made a bold decision that shifted the war's balance. Salazar signed an agreement with Britain, allowing the Allies to use military bases in the Azores Islands, located in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. This was a game-changer. The Azores became a vital spot for the Allies in the Battle of the Atlantic, the intense naval fight against Germany. From these islands, British and American forces could refuel their ships and planes, provide air cover for convoys, and track German submarines. Portuguese aircraft even helped by flying reconnaissance missions and gathering weather data. This support was crucial in helping the Allies defeat the powerful German Navy. While Portugal remained officially neutral, this move clearly leaned toward the Allies, giving them a major advantage when they needed it most. Even so, Salazar stayed true to his diplomatic style. When news of Hitler's suicide and Germany's surrender reached Portugal in 1945, he sent a telegram of condolence for the German dictator's death. It was a strange gesture, but for Salazar, it was about maintaining appearances and good manners, not necessarily sympathy. So, what's the bigger picture here? Portugal's role in World War II was far more important than most people realize. It wasn't just a bystander. Through clever diplomacy, the country avoided invasion and kept its independence. It saved countless lives by serving as a gateway for refugees escaping Nazi persecution. It also played a key part in the Allied victory by allowing the use of the Azores Islands. On top of that, Portugal benefited financially from the tungsten trade, earning billions in today's dollars. After the war, the victorious Allies recognized Portugal's contributions, even though it had stayed neutral. Salazar's regime, despite its harsh authoritarian nature, emerged stronger and lasted until 1974, making it one of the longest-lasting dictatorships in Europe. Looking back, Portugal's story during World War II is a testament to the power of strategy and caution. A small nation, surrounded by giants, managed not only to survive, but to influence the outcome of one of history's deadliest conflicts. It's a reminder that even in the darkest times, smart decisions can make a huge difference. What do you think about Portugal's role in the war? Did anything in this story surprise you? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed learning about this hidden chapter of history, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more incredible stories of military history and beyond. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.